Hello there. Well, so this is the next installment of Confront. I have learned, as I'm making this movie, I am learning more things about the particular topics. I'm trying to apply the things that I'm talking about in my life, and that always leads to discoveries. And that was one of the reasons I thought writing this book would be good for me as well as maybe helping somebody else. If I give it away for free, there's always a chance. um, so, okay, let's think about you going to a friend of yours and there's something you want your friend to confront. And let's look at why you might not want to do that. And of course, you know what I'm talking about because there are probably 1,000 times where you saw something that you thought somebody really needed to confront, but you never talked to them about it. You never pointed it out to them, whatever, because of all these things that could go wrong. And we all know what they are, even though right now, if I asked you what they are, you might not be able to name a single one. But still, as we interact in this movie, these things will pop into your mind. You see, that's the right way to listen to anybody's talk or listen to anybody's audio book or whatever. You just don't try to hear every word. You just let your thoughts trigger from what you're hearing. And then, of course, you'll fly off into thinking about that, and that's supposed to happen. And the nice thing about an audio book, if you own it, is you can listen to it a whole bunch of times. I mean, many, many times. Like how many times, do you think I've listened to The Art of War by Sun Tzu, or The Book of Five Rings by Masashi Miyamoto, or whatever, I mean, there are even, novels I've listened to more than once because they make me think. So, one thing that can happen, see, I'm just going to, I'm not going to try to tell you everything that can go wrong. You're going to find out, if you decide to create Confront, One thing when you're creating Confront you're supposed to do is not put up with the bullshit. If you stop putting up with the bullshit, you may find yourself getting some real bullshit thrown in your face. It may not be very easy to eat lunch under such circumstances. But anyway, let's say you go to somebody and you tell them something, but you fall into blaming them. That's possible that, it could just trigger something in you, and there's something that could go wrong. You could start blaming them. What's going to happen if you blame somebody? They're going to blame you back or whatever, Now let's say you don't blame them, but they think you're blaming them. So they start reacting to you as though you were blaming them. And, who are you to blame me? Now also, another thing that might happen is that they listen to this and they blame themselves. So they're not going to confront anything if they blame themselves. And so actually, and you see, when people are at, there's a level of consciousness where people blame themselves and others. I mean, you may be on that level of consciousness, so you know what I'm talking about. But even if you're not, you know, the person who you're trying to help might be. They might be stuck at that level. And you see, confronting, one of the things that you need in order to confront is you need to be above a certain level. Let's say up here is cause and down here is effect. And you need to be up here at cause. And then you're not likely to ever blame anybody, including yourself, for anything. But if you're at effect, even if your level of effect is way above the level where, you know, blame is the prevalent reality. I mean, some people just live awash in a sea of blame. Others for them, them for others, and so on and so forth. And if you're living, or the person you're talking to is living down there, there's no hope. You have to raise yourself. You just have to raise yourself first. And how do you do that? You know, one way of getting yourself up to a point where you can confront and help others do likewise is by taking action, doing things, even if they're wrong. It's okay to do things that are wrong as long as you learn from them. You have to learn from what you do. You know, you can see this in people who've gone to prison. You know, some people come out of prison and they, you know, you might say turn over a new leaf or whatever, but they are, you know, grateful for their experience there because they've done something for themselves and others while they were there. They made a choice to help. And, you know, sometimes people have done things. I mean, I remember there was this guy murdered his parents. He was on a drug, and he, I guess, took a lot of it, and he killed his parents. I think it was like he bludgeoned them to death or some such thing. And he wanted to help other people who might do something like that because he wound up in solitary in a prison for the rest of his life. Had a life sentence. And he was, you know, when I saw him on television, and he was really trying to tell people who might do that, like e.g. drug users, you know, don't use drugs because you are not yourself. Eat a Snickers bar. Just kidding. You're not yourself when you eat a Snickers bar either, because it's sugar, you know. But anyway, so he was talking, and then after his segment, they had a group of health professionals. I think there was a psychiatrist and two psychologists or something. And they were all analyzing how he was a complete psychopath and had no feelings for anybody, and was, everything he did was self-serving, and so on and so on and so on. And these three health professionals were all full of shit. They were idiots. But they were the ones that were getting listened to, because if you do something that is really, really, really catastrophic, your privilege, helping other people is a privilege, and you lose it. Even if you were completely out of control of your actions and didn't mean what you were doing. I mean, how could this poor guy have expected to profit from murdering his parents? All he did was kill him and call the police and get himself, ask them to come arrest him. And yet, it was just too bad. Until humanity raises itself to a higher level of consciousness, it's going to be real easy for you to lose your helping privileges. And hopefully right now, you and I are both confronting this issue. So this is what Confront is. There's no blame in it. It's an assessment, or it can be, of just, where I am, what can go wrong, what I need, what I have to do. And I do this continuously throughout the day. I have dark impulses to say things that might make people unhappy. And I know the way to get some result with people is not that. So I work at it. I work at confronting his work. And I work at it. I just keep working at it.